Hello students, I am Professor Namrata Hampiholi from Department of Commerce and Accountancy, KLS GCC, Belgavi. So in the previous lecture, we have seen the formation of the company wherein we are done with the two stages, that is promotion and incorporation. So in the incorporation stage, we have seen that certain documents are necessary which are to be submitted during the incorporation. So those are memorandum of association, articles of association, and along with that prospectus. So now let us see what is memorandum of association. So the memorandum of association is described in section 4 of Companies Act 2013. So what does here memorandum of association means? Here memorandum of association is a very important document of a company which defines the objective or the purpose for which the company has been started. So as we all know that whenever we start with some work or when we are starting with a company or a business, there is certain objective or a goal or a purpose in our mind for which we are starting. So that purpose or objective should be stated here. In simple words, here we are going to define the reason of existence of the company, for what purpose it is being formed. So here the memorandum of association defines the objective of the company. It lay down the fundamental condition upon which alone the company is followed to be performed. It is the charter of the company, that is, it is a principle of the company wherein it defines for what purpose we are going to start up a business. So it provides the framework or the bracket within which the company has to work. If the company is working beyond the memorandum of association or beyond the contents of MOA, then it is considered to be illegal. So whatever work it is undertaking, it has to be in the bracket of memorandum of association. Now let us look into the contents of memorandum of association. It contains name clause, registered office clause, object or objective clause, liability clause, capital clause, and association clause. So now let us look into the first clause, that is a name clause. So it determines the name what you have given to your company. So in this clause you have to mention the name by which your company will be known. So if it is a public company, then the word limited should be put at the end of the name of the company. And if it is a private company, then the word private limited should be put at the end of the company's name. That is, your company name should end with the word private limited. Then the name that you have given to the company should be identical one. That should not be identical one. That is, the name shouldn't be same as the company which is already existing. Suppose for example, like if you want to start a new company, you cannot keep its name as a Reliance. Okay, why? Because it is already the existing company. You have to think of some other name which is not existing. Then it cannot allude to the new company doing the business of existing company. That is, your business shouldn't be of the same nature of already existing company, and the name which you have given to the company shouldn't mislead in any way. That is, it shouldn't give any illegal message in the society. Then coming to the next clause, here is registered office clause. So here registered office clause, it contains the name of the state in which the registered office of the company is or will be situated. That means it will state in which state you are going to start, you have started your company. That is, where is your registered office of the company. Suppose like let us take the example of Reliance. Reliance registered office is in Mumbai, so that place should be stated in the memorandum of association. Then it should contain the physical location which determines the jurisdiction of the registrar of a company and the court in which the company will fall under. It also confirms the company's nationality and along with that you have to disclose about the full address so that it will be easy for the communication. Then now next coming to the object clause. So this is a very important clause which state the purpose of establishing the company. So here the company is not allowed to do any kind of the business which is not stated in the memorandum of association. So here in object clause it defines the purpose for which the company is being started, and the company has to work according to that objectives only. So here the list of here they are classified as a main objective, then incidental objective and other objective. So the main objective here consists of main purpose for which we are doing the business. And next is incidental objective. That means what? Those are like a supporting for the main objective. So the object which support the main objective, to accomplish the main objective, what are the sub point or we can say that what are the other steps we need to take to complete the main objective, that are stated in incidental objective. And apart from these, if company is having some other objective, that is stated here. So here objectives are classified into three, that is main objective, incidental objective and the other objective. So it will state what is the purpose of establishment and what we have to do or how according to we have to act. Then it should not consist any illegal thing, and it shouldn't be against the public interest, and it should not violate any rules of the company, or it shouldn't be against any country's general rule of law. Then coming to the next clause, that is liability clause. It explains the content, it contains the limit up to which the shareholders are liable to pay off to the outsiders or the creditors in the event of liquidation, or that is winding up. Now suppose for example that in a situation wherein the company has to wind up or it has to close, that time they have to pay their debts, that is they have to pay to their creditors. So at that time who should pay what amount? So that is stated in the liability clause, wherein they define the shareholders claim here. They state here the limit up to the shareholders they can pay. So here that can be classified in case of the company is limited by shares. Here the liability of the each member will be up to the face value of the share which the shareholders have taken up. Then if it's a company that is limited by guarantee, then it will define how much liability the individual company members can hold. Then if it is a unlimited company, then if it is an unlimited company, then that clause would not be included here in the memorandum of association. So according to the type of the company, the members here are defined with their liabilities. That is when the members are being called only when they have to pay the company at the time of liquidation. So here they have to pay only the amount for which they are being called, or that is unpaid amount on the shares held by them, or up to the maximum of the amount which they have guaranteed. The next here is capital clause. So as we know that capital is a very important essence here. So here the capital clause lists the information about the total capital which is held by the proposed company. So this amount is called as an authorized capital. So here we can say that authorized capital means the maximum amount which is required by the company has to be stated here. So that is here authorized capital. So here company is not permitted to collect more amount other than the specified in authorized capital. It has to collect up to the amount which is specified in authorized capital. So the way here the authorized capital is divided into the equity shares and the preference shares. So that should be mentioned in the capital clause, that is the number of shares they have put into, like, to collect the equity share as well as the preference share. Coming to the next clause, that is association clause. Here it contains the name and the address of at least 7 members in case of the public company and minimum 2 in case of private company who have agreed to join hands for the undertaking registered company. That is, they are here ready to be the part of company by the subscription of the shares. That is, they have agreed here to contribute towards the capital of the company by the way of subscribing to the shares. So here the name and address of these persons are to be noted down and they are to be signed at the bottom of memorandum of association. And here they have to subscribe minimum 1 share. That is, not less than 1 share are being subscribed here. Minimum 1 share they have to subscribe. And those are being signed by the witness. So here we end with the contents of memorandum of association. Coming to the next document, that is articles of association. So here section 4 of Companies Act 2013 defines the articles of association. So this is another important document. Those have the rules regarding the internal working of a company, that is, rules regarding the internal rules of the company. Here these rules are subsidiary to the memorandum of association. So whatever might be the rules that are formed in the articles of association should not exceed the limit of the memorandum of association. That is, the working of articles of association should be done within the framework of memorandum of association. It shouldn't state anything which is not mentioned in memorandum of association. So here, as per section 2 subsection 5 of Companies Act 2013, here articles means articles of association of a company as originally framed or altered from time to time in the pursuance of any previous law or of this act. That means it is a document which are framed and which has been altered. That is, changes are permitted here. Changes can be done here in memorandum of association as well as article of association, but that should be within the act. So articles of association is a document which will state the internal working of a company. Then next, looking into the contents of articles of association, here those are classified into the 14 contents. So here they contain the classes of share and the value of the shares. Then next, call for shares, transfer, forfeitures and conversion of shares, or in case of if there is any alteration in capital, that is specified. And the directors, their appointment, their duties and their powers are mentioned here. Then next, meeting and minute notice, that is, whatever is discussed in the meeting, that is to be noted down. That is how the procedure of the meeting is to be done are specified here. Then accountability and audit, then appointment and the remuneration of the auditors, voting, poll and proxy, then dividends and reserves. Then what is the winding up process, that is when the company is getting closed, how should be the procedure. Then next, borrowing powers of board of directors and managers, minimum subscriptions. Then the rules regarding use and custody of common seal, that every company has its common seal, then how that has to be used and who will be the custodian for that. Then the rules and regarding the conversion of the fully paid up shares. Then lien on share, that is the right to hold shares of the shareholder until they pay the debt in case of the transfer. So these are the contents of memorandum of articles of associations. Then now let us look into the difference between the memorandum of association and the articles of association. So the basis of your difference are objective. So what is the objective of MOA here is it will define the objective for which the company is formed, and articles of association state how the internal working of the company takes place. Then position of MOA here is it is a main document of the company and subordinate to the Companies Act, wherein AOA is a subsidiary document, that is we can say that it is a supporting document of MOA, and even it is prepared according to the Companies Act. Then in the relationship basis, it decides the relationship of a company with the outsider, that is MOA is meant for the outsiders. It will have an overlook of the company. This document will tell us about the company, so it is mainly for the outsider of the company. And here article has a article of association will define the relationship of the members and the company, that is it states the internal members and the relationships. Then next is validity. It acts beyond the MOA are the act beyond the MOA are invalid and cannot be ratified. That means here whatever is stated in the memorandum of association, according to that we have to follow, and whatever are the act beyond that, that is considered here as invalid. Then here coming to the articles, here the acts which are beyond the article can be ratified, that is it can be altered, and that shouldn't violate again memorandum of association. Even if there is a changes in articles of association, they can be made, but those should not exceed here again the memorandum of association. So here memorandum of association should work according to what it has stated in the objective, and it cannot go beyond that objective. Then necessity. So every company must file the memorandum of association. It is a compulsory document that has to be filed here. Then in case of articles of association, it is not compulsory for the public limited company. Instead of article of association, it may opt for the table F of Companies Act that state same here, that is the internal working of the company. So here it specifies what is the difference between memorandum of association and articles of association.